So the day of the tournament has finally begun, and all the students are ecstatic for it to begin, including Makoto students who are, although it's rigged against them, they're still excited to show off their abilities to their teacher and to everyone else around them. And it's a fight to really demonstrate Makoto's ability in teaching, that they fight so well, because compare them to the other students, well, the other students, they're okay, but they're not as good as Makoto students, who just completely wipe the floor with them whenever they face them in an individual matchup. Even though for the most part they didn't fight too many of them, but from what we see, it's not a pretty picture when they do fight. Now, for Makoto students, I do want to mention just a couple fights here that really showcase their abilities. First, I want to talk about Mithra and Jin. Their fight is excellent. Yes, it's just a sword fight, but Mithra has an excellent defensive posture going on, whereas Jin had a relentless attack. And as far from what we could tell from Tomoe and Mio, that the fight was to continue, Mithra would probably be the one who would win, because Mithra was just defending the whole time with a perfect defense, and Jin was trying to break his way through Mithra's defense, but he never could find that place that he could go through. So if there's the last for 2 or 3 hours, stamina wise at the very least, Jin would probably fall and Mithra would probably take the lead on that. Now, a duel that I do want to talk about Jin that Jin did very well in was his fight against Irigud. Now, that fight was great. Now, even though he just has wooden swords as appointed by the academy rules because they need to protect the students, supposedly, but it's really just another handicap to Makoto students, so just kind of another insult to injury here. But regardless, Jin goes in and he just demolishes the prince. Now, the prince, he has actual armor on, he has an actual real sword, but compared to skill level, it's not even close. Jin just completely mops the floor with him, causing the prince to just stumble to the floor and knocking out all 3 protective dolls that are set up for Irigud. Now, one thing I didn't mention before is that are those 3 dolls. Apparently, each container has 3 dolls set for them. That if they take any damage, that damage will be transferred to the doll, so that way that no one will get killed. So, very smart move there, everybody. And unfortunately, it took to the last doll for Jin to win that match, because Jin tried to just, take out 2 of the dolls and look to the referee, but the referee was like, nope, keep on going. So the referee was definitely trying to be more on the side Irigud, but doesn't matter. Jin still came out on top. Unfortunately, though, our boy Jin, he doesn't win the last one when he has to go up against Sophia. She just completely wipes the floor with him with her magic. The match doesn't even last more than maybe 20 seconds, and she's already won the individual bouts. Now, I do have some questions on why you're having a swordsman go up against a magic user, but if that is a champion of all the individual fights, I guess it makes sense why she would be facing out against Jin, who was wielding a sword in that match. Now, one thing that was actually quite surprising was all the heads of states were actually praising Makoto students on their fighting abilities and scorning the other nobles who had their stuck-up noses towards Makoto students, because Makoto students' fighting styles aren't the typical fighting styles. They don't use traditional methods, they're not taking traditional routes. Their fighting styles is quite unique but very effective, and the heads of state all recognize that and said that, hey, if you're on the battlefield like we are right now with the demons, you need these skills, you need to be thinking on your feet, and you need to move the way that they are. So no, we gotta give these guys praise. Just giving those nobles who laughed at those guys just complete scorn. So if they want a job in the future, the students have their choice between either the Empire or the Kingdom, probably. True, they haven't offered any jobs to them yet, but I mean, you don't get that kind of high praise unless someone's already having an eye on you and thinks very highly of you. In fact, they even think very highly of their teacher, who they even see as kind of a bit of a threat that might need to be dealt with if they can't get him to come join their nation. So now, there's also something interesting that the Academy has going on for the team fights. Apparently, a new rule has been issued where for the team fights, apparently the team fights level cannot exceed 365, thus forcing Makoto students to only send 3 of their people to fight in the actual team battles, because they're all pretty much at that like 80-90 level at this point, so they can only send 3 people out to face the other teams, which is a bit unfair for them. But we gotta keep in mind that these students so far in the individual fights have just mopped the floor and were far superior to their peers in those fights, but still, it's just another little bit of the Academy's meddling directed directly at Makoto students, just to put another handicap on them. I mean, maybe they're trying to make it more even and give the students a chance, but I personally highly doubt that. Now, With that said, Makoto can't actually watch that team match because he's been called over by Rembrandt, and apparently the Merchant Guild wants to speak with them. About what exactly, we're not sure, but Rembrandt doesn't look too confident about it, and apparently according to Rembrandt, this might be Makoto's comeuppance at this point, because all the heads of state have been taking notice of the Kazuna Company, and so that might cause some kind of investigation by the Merchant Guild into the Kazuna Company. Now, when Makoto shows up, thinking that it's just going to be like a nice normal meeting with the Merchant Guild leader, it does not turn out that way. In fact, what happens is he just rakes him over the coals and pretty much tears him open a new one in several ways. First off, he starts drilling Makoto on how is his distribution going. How is he getting supplies into a store? Because according to the records, Makoto is selling way more supplies than he should be for the amount of cars that are coming into his store. So how is he doing his distribution method? And at that, Makoto, he tells him that he can't tell him, but is this something that I can just, ease away with some money? And at that, the merchant just dings him right there, because a smart merchant would just deny it, would not accept the accusation, would find a way to go around and be like, no, I have the supplies coming out to the side of the city. I have my people go picking up. I don't want to have my carts brought in. Tells them that there is a secret method that he's been hiding from them, and now they're going to be looking into that, and their trust with him has decreased significantly. Also, now, since they now know that he has been hiding some stuff from them, they're also going to be charging him a 90% profit tax on everything he makes to be paid to the guild. Makoto, he stands up against it like, hey, that's very unfair. I don't agree with this. Why are you making me pay this? And we learn that the whole reason why this investigation is going on is because of the fellow guild members who are quite upset about Makoto and pretty much driving all their customers to his store versus their stores, that they are not happy about Makoto doing this. And thus the complaints have started to pile against Makoto. Now, Makoto, he probably could have got in front of this if he had been making, relationships, deals with the other merchants, and, oiling the backhands a little bit to keep everyone on the up and up. More wise merchant would have done this, but Makoto at this point was just too naive. He was like, hey, I'm an honest businessman. I bring my products to market, I sell them, I make some money. What's the issue here? Unfortunately, you've rubbed people the wrong way. You haven't made sure to pay your dues, and now you're going to be paying for it. And it's a very valuable lesson for Makoto to learn. And this has resulted in fact, the merchant guildmaster telling Makoto to close up his shop and head back to Tiskrig, that he's no longer welcomed in Rotsgard as a merchant. Now, he's willing to cut off that 90% tax as long as Makoto tells him how he's distributing their goods. And the only reason why he's doing this is because then Rembrandt is going to owe him a favor for just allowing Makoto to go and not taxing him so much on his funds. Makoto, now realizing that he hasn't just screwed up his own business, but also caused massive issues for Rembrandt, a man who has done favors for him, a man who he really liked, who stuck out his neck for him. Now Makoto has to completely rethink the way he's been doing business, just really demonstrating to him that, yes, what you've been doing, it's okay, but you caused massive issues, and now you're going to have to live with those consequences. So Makoto does tell him that, yeah, there's an associate of mine that can fly and transport the goods, that we've been using it that way. Not telling him that, oh yeah, no, I got a demi-plane that we just open the portal, just grab the goods, bring them out here, set them down on the floor, and we're good. So he keeps it on the down low, which is a smart move, but still he's had to reveal something to the guild members that would at least somewhat satisfy the curiosity on how he's moving goods around. And now that's probably going to be added on to Makoto's tax for transportation goods or city goods or something like that. That would be not so high before. It is now being taken into account. So he's definitely paying up the wazoo for his mercantile mistakes there. Now, when he goes back to the hotel to tell the rest of the crew about this, it has differently levels of consternation. Mio, for herself, she would just want to go out there to destroy the guild and kill the guild master, which would be very ill-advised, because the guild master even told her, like, hey, if any violence is caused from this, just so you know, your name as the Kazuna Company will be completely tarnished within all the kingdoms and empire, and it will not be a good result for you. So that's out of the question. Tomoe mentions, like, well, maybe just go to the demons and just completely forget about humanity. After all, that is what you were wanting to do. You did want to establish a relationship with the demons, and we do need to open that portal over in the demon realm in order to stabilize the demi-plane. So it might be the best way to go about that. Shiki agrees with that statement and thinks that it would be probably their best choice to go, especially since the demons don't have as many prejudices as the humans do, at least in the current society. Makoto, seeing the wisdom in all their advice, agrees and like, you know what, why not, let's go give it a shot. After all, there are two human heroes over with the humans here, so why shouldn't a hero go and be in the demi world? Like, he's not going to go work for him, but you know, he can at least turn a little bit of a blind eye to the conquest of the demi humans for the way that the humans been acting. So it sounds like in the next episode we're going to be seeing Makoto make his plans to move his shop over to the demon realm, as far as we can tell here. But I'm curious to hear what you guys thought. What was your favorite fight? What did you think of them? Did you think the students were actually as good as what we saw in here, or do you think the animes were just giving them maybe a little bit too much fluff? Arguably, you can probably make that argument, but still, I enjoy the fights that they had. Do you think that Makoto is right to be grilled by the Merchant Association the way he was? I mean, there are ways that you're supposed to be doing business, and if Makoto didn't do business like that, well, then we can see what was going on. I don't think they ever argue about the price with him. I think they just argue the way he conducted himself as a merchant was against their rules. So I'm curious to see what y'all think about that. And do you think he will completely uproot his entire shop and move to the demon's realm? I'm curious to hear what you guys got to say there. Leave a like and subscribe and let me know your thoughts. Yo, take care now. Bye.